check this out. The Federal Reserve announced another big rate increase Wednesday afternoon, and the crypto market didn't take long to respond. Right away, Bitcoin dropped 19,000 shortly after the Fed announced that it would be raising the federal funds rate to a target of 3 to 3.25%, the fifth consecutive time the Federal Reserve has raised rates this year. Ethereum, the mother of the merge and the king of all shitcoins, saw a sudden drop as well, but it held at 13K for the time being. STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Brazen.
Welcome back. Double O in the house.
Double O in the Hiza. Let's jump right into this thing right after this.
Perfect.
Double O.
Hey.
Yes, sir. So
I like that. I like that increment of the perfect, man.
hey,
What else
listen,
is out there that is perfect and STAKK?
come on, we're continuously grinding, man, elevating our status every day, elevating our skills.
Oh, champion!
Come on,
Let's
come
go.
on,
Let's
come
go.
on.
Let's
Listen,
go.
before you know it, man, CNS will be contacting us for a job. They'll wonder how it happened, but watch us work. Listen, how the latest Fed rate increase could impact Bitcoin's price based on these four charts. Here is one thing that we know for sure. Recently, especially, I have noticed that there is this correlation going on with Bitcoin and SPY. Okay. And I've wondered to myself, why is that happening? Is it because at some point there was a bunch of companies that put Bitcoin on their balance sheet? And as we know, a lot of those companies also own Bitcoin, like Microsoft, Tesla, Apple, and so on and so forth. Grayscale.
BlackRock.
So when the Federal Reserve now does these things that usually affect the traditional markets, because these companies now have this massive exposure to Bitcoin, there is some sort of correlation. But this is just me connecting dots in my head. What are your thoughts, Double O?
Fire, baby, fire. You are right. This makes a lot of sense. As a matter of fact, if you haven't seen the video, watch the video about the banks getting involved in cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. There's something interesting going on there. And as they throw all this money in there, what we have seen on the exchanges is that these guys have implemented an algorithmic. Ah, Jesus Christ.
It's okay. I got you, sir.
They have implemented these actions, and the charts and patterns are perfect for trading. They are making a ton of money on these charts. So I'm not surprised that we now see a correlation in the price action, because these guys are not making money either way.
Hey, there's a reason why they created the futures thing, right? Yeah. So there is that. Well, let's I know you have some other charts and things like that to show what happens when these rates are hiked or dropped, and we can maybe look at some more points that they have here in the article as well. Go for it, sir.
Yeah, so before we go into it, I'd first like to present us the God of Fiat. We call him the God of Fiat.
The God of Fiat.
Thou shalt increase the interest rates, and everything goes tanking.
Thou shalt go broke.
Because I said so.
And
Thou shalt be unemployed.
Yeah,
and that would happen. You know. So before, I just thought I'd put them out there, you know, with the old standard, you know.
Hey, that was funny. I never thought about that.
Hey.
The God of Fiat.
Yes, the God of Fiat. So yeah, so you know, Bitcoin have never been to a recession before, a real recession or depression before, and then we've also started to see a lot of big banks, big money get involved in the space. So, and of course, when this happens, it has some impact. And of course, there's also a ton of global macro economics going on that could also impact the price action, that impacts these big banks and this big money, which then impacts their investment in the space. So this was the beginning of it all. You know, of course, people argue that Jerome Powell got into this whole interest rate increases a little bit too late. This is one of the reasons why we Bitcoin in the first place. They printed a bunch of money, threw it at the markets. People got money for free, no interest rate at all, and they started trading and making a lot of millions and billions of money. And of course, you know what happens? Inflation kicks in. And apparently, the Federal Reserve thinks that the best way to fix inflation is to increase interest rates, which we all know doesn't work because the real issue, is production and the macroeconomics going on around the world. If the Russia-Ukraine war does not stop, you're not going to fix inflation. If the China situation does not get fixed, inflation is not going to get fixed. So all this increase in interest rates, no, man, it's just going to make the poor poor and the richer richer because all they're going to do is pass the bills onto the consumer, and they still get richer. They're still making maximum profit no matter what. So yeah, here comes March 13th. Of course, the king, the god of fiat, came out and spoke his stuff right there. This time around, it was different. This was the first one. This was the first. Hey, it's happening. And we all know what happened during the old COVID situation. Bitcoin went crazy and pumped up. So maybe investor thought this was the time for it to go up. And boom, the price of Bitcoin went up. We enjoyed that little bit of a conversation. And then the war against the stable coins started. The central banks do not agree with the Feds. Central banks around the world are competing with one another. The US say, hey, man, we got to fix our situation before y'all fix yours. So we started the hiking before everybody else did. And as you probably see now, the US dollar is actually a lot more than the pound. So this was the second one. Yeah, this one definitely kicked a punch right there, man. So that happened, and the price of Bitcoin went down to 28K. We held a lot for this period, actually. So yeah, we have a lot of Bitcoin, in this time period here.
A lot of orders, yeah.
Right. So as you can see, the price of Bitcoin started going down, and it looks like ever since then, even though the price drops, it only takes a matter of weeks before the price slowly creeps back up. And it did that again. As you can see probably here, it went up. The next time it happened, it dipped down a little bit. Prices start recovering again. Each single time you have a Federal Reserve increase of interest rate, will have a dip. This, to me, not financial advice, are buying opportunities, because right soon after that, it goes back up. Unless some other strategy gets implemented, what we've seen is the price of Bitcoin slowly creeping back up every single time.
Absolutely. I think slowly creeping back up is, I would say, is one of those things where after that short period of, I don't want to say manipulation, but after that reaction, right, that people were trading this stuff, especially institutional traders, right, how they react to the markets, we see that price coming back up exactly because of what you explained there. People start taking that opportunity to buy more, average down, or maybe just re-entering positions. And we see that pressure coming back up. I mean, these are things that you learn in trading, which, by the way, if you're interested in learning more about trading, hit us up. We have some interesting courses, which are available if you want to learn about just trading in general, right? We can tell you what to trade, but it's a skill that is nice to have. I'll give an example of when I thought it was helpful. The last time Jerome was coming out to give a one of his speeches, right? One of his death to the economy speeches. We were aware of the dates, and we had some puts on SPY. And right away when that happened, the puts on SPY were looking great. So I think it's another one of those opportunities where you can make money to fund your Bitcoin as well, right? If you have the skill, the discipline, and everything else like that to manage that sort of situation. Very risky, but it's a skill to have. As far as these correlations go, I think Bitcoin has not been in a recession before, as you rightfully said. But I think it's very important for everyone to also look at the macroeconomics, which you brought up there, because we sometimes forget that Bitcoin is this asset that is not just within the US borders, it is global. And so what happens over time as other economies start feeling the effect of, whatever it is they're feeling, and they start hopping into Bitcoin? I think all it takes is just that one moment where Bitcoin breaks out above a certain price point, and then you have people FOMOing into it as well. That is just going to blow up that price. That may happen whenever. It does not matter when it happens. But it is very important, despite these things. And I think one of the reasons why it's important and why we study these things so much is to be able to find those opportunities within the market, right? To continue to grow our, well, what do we say? Building wealth through digital assets, right? This is the superior you know what I mean? This is the superior digital asset here. And we're understanding it. We're understanding the underlying technology. We're working every day to keep understanding it so that we can provide other services to other countries with this, right? So despite all of this, I think sometimes we may get caught up in just what is happening in the United States and we forget about the global reality of Bitcoin, right? Yeah. And so at the end of the day, as you know, the god of fiat does his rate hikes and all of these things like this, I am hoping for a day where they will do the same things and the market does not respond, or Bitcoin does not respond as they expected. Because I think that's what it's going to take for them to learn their lesson.
I think it's a market psychology. Investors eventually say, oh, okay, we're used to you increasing interest rates. We're just going to continue on anyway. But the Federal Reserve increase of interest rate impacts the entire globe because their currencies go down because they've taken debt on USD. And when you increase interest rates, right, paying that debt becomes more expensive, right? Yes. And that's basically a strategy for U.S. government to interest hike away their troubles because that allows them to make more money on the loans that they've given out so they can make more money back for the system. But it's also a risk for the U.S. government because if you are doing that, your if you're selling products,
your reputation and your relationship with all these other countries as well,
that becomes an issue,
right? When it starts going from being a business transaction to looking more like weaponization of finance, right? If you were leading another country where this hike is affecting your country negatively, what is your incentive to choke out your country to make another person happier when you have the option to get on the Bitcoin standard?
It also makes our exports more expensive because now their currencies cannot buy our stuff, which is not good for the economic. It's not good for the GDP eventually. So they're going to have to slow down these interest rate hikes somewhat soon.
It has to stop at some point.
So that said, let's see how some of these correlations is working. Here is SPY. No, this is not SPY. This is Bitcoin. We're going to show. Can you put together a chart for the correlation between Bitcoin and SPY so that we can see that real quick? But in the meantime, though, as we can see, we were trying to get Bitcoin to follow the Y curve at some point, but that all fell apart. So Bitcoin is no longer pegged, or it's not following the Y curve theory at the moment. But we're looking at the 1 year weekly charts for about a year now of Bitcoin. And what we see here is looking at exactly all the impacts of the interest rate hikes and Bitcoin trying to recover every single time. But there's a pattern here. We have a double head here, which of course, if you do technical analysis, caused this bottom. We can call this a dead cat bounce because it attempted to come back almost 50% of the previous high and it crashed back down. Right? But if you were doing this chart, you could probably say this is a 1 week chart. It's going down this way, right? But you could also say that if you're looking at this pattern, you could say that this is a bottom here and you might have a double bottom here, right? So what could happen with this pattern happening, right? Could the price pump right back up? Or could it just fall back down? Because this is a multi-directional pattern right here. So this right here is unknown. So this, again, the RSI is at the bottom. The RSI is all the way at 11, right? This for me, it's a bottom. It's a good opportunity to buy. But if, for example, the god of fiat comes back and says, hey, we're not done yet. We got to keep increasing interest rate in November, then I have to say though, Bitcoin has been doing a pretty good job holding up. There are fears that the macroeconomics of what's going on in Europe, around the world, could bring Bitcoin to 14,000, and it's not just because of what they are saying. The charts also say that because that is the area for one of the last support areas.
Yeah.
We also have a huge support at the 8,000 range as well. But that is all macroeconomics. If things get better, this could be a bounce up to the top. If things get worse macroeconomically around the globe, then yes, this is possible. But that's not the technology. It's just what's going on with investors around the world. They're moving their money around, trying to figure out what to do. And that is why you're going to see that. But I don't think it's going to be a long-term bottom. It's going to be a short period. And this is just trading, not the value of the technology itself. That's just what I'm thinking of.
I think if we're going to see Bitcoin at 14K and they're going to make it happen, I think they need to make it happen fast, because the longer it happens, the longer it takes, the more people get into Bitcoin and the more difficult that possibility is going to be one day. Right. Yeah. I'm going to add on SPY here. Correlation between SPY and Bitcoin. The candles is going to be Bitcoin and the orange line is SPY. Speaking of correlations, we can see there this is a 4-hour chart. So we're looking at maybe since April of this year. You can see how the price action or the charts have been sort of moving in a bit of a tandem. Right? This is Bitcoin and SPY. So let me see if I can find the correct tool to use for this occasion. Okay, I cannot find the right one to use for this occasion, but here we go. We can see obviously that we have this downward correlation here between Bitcoin and SPY. We have another one, all across the board. I mean, for the longest of time now, right? You can clearly see the movements between both assets there. And again, I still think that, we have this, the connecting piece here is either institutional traders or the fact that you have all these companies that are exposed to Bitcoin, right? And it'll be interesting to know how that affects the value of Bitcoin as well as their company, or how the value of their company affects that price action on Bitcoin. But we're still doing research on this. But what are your thoughts on that chat, sir?
Yeah, I think the Bitcoin prices has been a lot more dramatic in terms of price action movements. And in the last few days, although it looks like there's a big movement between 17,000, like Bitcoin's not at 12,000. Why is it showing?
It's not at 12,000. Ignore the price scale. I kind of messed up. Bitcoin is over there. It's trading at 19,000.
So it's going sideways right now. So I would say that last section there is inaccurate. It's not at that price. But maybe the AI is seeing something that we don't see yet.
Well, let's see. Which part are you talking about? Because it's showing us the price of SPY over there at 357.
Yeah.
And then we have Bitcoin over here at 19.
Oh, okay. So Bitcoin, all right. So,
Yeah.
So as you can see, Bitcoin is holding up better than SPY. Even with the most frequent crash down of the SPY, Bitcoin has been holding up, right? So what we could see here is Bitcoin may be stabilizing. So it could be at, like you were mentioning earlier, it could be a situation of the COVID situation where the market continued to crash, but Bitcoin just decided at some point, forget it, man, we are done. Investors just are saying, we'll rather invest in the crypto space and invest in Bitcoin than invest in the fiat system and dump SPY and start focusing more on Bitcoin investments, which could now traject towards the opposite direction as the market is.
Well, very interesting stuff there. So I think that that correlation, I'm hoping that this is for the better. At least, listen, to be honest, I don't need Bitcoin to run up right now. I'm still accumulating. Okay, I don't need the money right now. I don't need to get rich today. Okay, I'm fine. Okay, let it just stay where it is.
Lives to change, right?
Hey, man, if you're going to make a massive impact on the world, you need to take time to gather resources so that you can benefit as many people as possible. So I'm not in a rush to get rich. I'm definitely in a rush to gather resources to make a positive impact, right? We all are, right? So are you. We're all trying to make a positive impact in the areas and for the people that we care about,
Yep.
right? Even if it's a whole nation, it's just what it is. So, interesting information there, interesting correlation. But I think what I've been saying all along, you will have to find Satoshi at some point and force him to sell his bitcoins. Otherwise, there are limits to how low this thing can go. You will have to go to what do they call these places again? Landfills,
Yep.
and find lost ledgers and lost computers. You have to jump in the ocean and find all the Bitcoin that people lost from a boating accident. Okay, and sell it to go below certain prices. Okay, because this is just the way the underlying technology works. There's a limit to how much you can go to. So I don't know if Peter Schiff understands this, but it is what
Hey,
it
it's
is.
still it's still accumulating gold.
Okay. He's accumulating gold. I don't know why that might.
It's still accumulating yellow dust.
Listen, man. I bet he's still using a revolver for his home security.
Hey,
You know, one of those powder guns. You show up to his house, he has to like. He's like, hold up, don't attack me yet. Let me pump my musket before I fire upon you. Insane. Double O, let's wrap this one up, man.
hey,
Final
before we
thoughts,
wrap
sir.
up. Yeah, final thought. Bitcoin. Today is Nigeria's Independence Day, October
Oh, shit.
1st.
Happy Independence
Right.
Day to you, Nigerians, man.
Independence what? Never got that independence. It's
No,
just
it's
it's just
okay.
a title.
It's about the party. It's not really about what the event is. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what Africans care about in the first
Yeah,
place.
it's about the party.
I just really hope that the leadership, the governments, the folks in power, and the citizens, which is the most important part,
Yeah.
are watching this show and they're realizing that they have an opportunity to get their true independence. And that answer is Bitcoin. Just take your time to understand Bitcoin. Happy Independence Day to all the Niger people out there. Wishing you guys the best, but definitely check out Bitcoin. It's your savior, man. That's all I have to say.
Say less. There we go.
Let's go party. Let's go party.
That's for Nigeria. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Brazen out.
Hey, if you have not liked or subscribed, please go ahead and do that right now. And if you have a comment to give about this whole show, go ahead and do it. Double O
All right.
out.